Hey, my name is Jeremy. I'm the lead pastor here at the Center of Hope, and I want to take a few minutes to share a thought that occurred to me just this morning. As you can see, we're in the middle of a little bit of a project, and in light of some of the large things that we're doing with our facility, one of the things that we decided to do was to repave our parking lot. And as I was coming in today, I looked at all the dirt that's out here and kind of had a bit of a revelation. Here's what I thought. This dirt that was under the concrete that we just pulled up is the same dirt that was here when all of this was built. Meaning that all of the structures that we see, all that's taken place, all the improvements on this property, all took place on top of this same dirt that I'm standing on right now. This building was built around just after the late 1950s into the 1960s. And so this is some old dirt. And as much as we have done a lot to improve and to change this place, the fact is one thing that has not changed on this property is this dirt. And here's the question that occurred to me. What does the dirt remember? And here's what I mean. My imagination says there were some people who, as I'm standing here now, walked out into this place and stood on this dirt and had a vision of something larger than what was already here. That they had to stand here in the middle of what I see now and envision buildings and structures and envision people and organization and life and bustling, communities and pockets of individuals doing great things. And for me, what spoke to me about that was simply this, that it's hard to see big improvements when you're standing in the middle of dirt, but that's what separates visionaries from everybody else. And so here are three things that I think you as a visionary ought to consider when you come to places in your life that are kind of like this. Here's number one. If you're going to do incredible things and you're going to accomplish what's been assigned to your life, you have to be okay with being in dirty places. You have to be okay with the mess. Hard work and big ideas and big dreams often start off very messy and disorganized and discombobulated, and it's not pretty pristine or put together. And if I'm going to be a visionary, if you're going to be a visionary, you got to be comfortable with being in spaces where it just doesn't look good. But number two, you have to be comfortable. If you're going to be a visionary, you have to be comfortable with the time it takes to get from where you are to where you want to be. The fact is that this all is a process, and I often tell people what's exciting is when you have a dream or a vision or an idea, and then what's also exciting is when you get to the end result and you see what you saw and it's manifested. But there's this element of the messy middle where you have to contend and wait and be patient and kind of just walk through seasons where it's not kind of turned over like they got to turn over just yet. And if you're going to be a visionary, you have to be comfortable with the process, with the waiting period. But ultimately, if you're going to be a visionary, you have to stand in nothing and see something. And that's the hardest thing to do, is to be in a place where there is no construction, there is no manifestation, there is no improvement. You have to be able to see it. And you have to be able to see it so clearly that as you look at the dirt, you can imagine the various places. You can imagine not only the structures or the ideas or the initiatives, but you can imagine the people that it will serve. You can imagine the legacy that it will create. You can imagine in the corridors of time, as you look into the future, that there are tons of people over the course of generations that will be impacted by you having the perseverance to stand in dirt and see something more. So I just want to encourage somebody. I'm not sure where you are or what you're walking through, but you might be in a dirty place. You might be in a place that's not well put together, that looks like just a mound of just nothing. Stand in that space. Be comfortable with that space. Don't despise that space. Be patient in that space. It may take a lot longer than you think it ought to take. But also when you're in that space, don't focus on the space. See what can be in that space. See what can come from that space. Believe that there's something more, something greater. And though you can't necessarily see it tangibly now, just believe by faith that one day there will be something great because you had the endurance to contend where you were and to see it to its full completion. So God bless you. Hope that encouraged you like it encouraged me. I think we're up to something big, and God will do some great things in our lives if we can be comfortable in these spaces and believe for something more. Talk to you soon.